Smith & Wesson's M&P series of polymer frame striker-fired pistols have been one of the preeminent competitors in the self-defense and service pistol category since the early 2000s. One of the first, and at the time arguably one of the only, striker-fired guns to challenge Glock's dominance of the American law enforcement market. They have been a fixture on gun shop racks ever since. But as good as they were overall, the M&Ps weren't without their problems. 12 years after their introduction, Smith & Wesson rolled out the M&P 2.0 line in 9mm, 40 S&W, 10mm, and 45 ACP, with some much-needed revisions and a few controversial changes to the proven design. Today I'll be telling you everything you need to know about the M&P 2.0 series that I wish I knew earlier. We will get right to it, but before we do, please take a second and consider signing up to become a member of the channel. Our channel members will get access to exclusive perks like members-only videos, downloadable guides, and a whole lot more. And you'll be helping us improve our content and reach an even wider audience of enthusiasts like yourself. Now, with that said, let's pop the hood on the M&P 2.0 and check out the changes. The first, and to many shooters, the most significant change in the M&P 2.0 lineup is the trigger. The original M&Ps, the 1.0s if you will, had triggers that were serviceable at best. Indistinct, creepy, and having a barely detectable reset. They did not endear themselves to most users. You might argue that no striker-fired pistol has a truly good trigger, but that's a conversation for another day. This cruddy trigger was quickly addressed by an aftermarket that was eager to give these guns the proper trigger that they rightly deserved. What's not arguable is that the trigger in the 2.0 guns is a welcome improvement, having a cleaner take-up, cleanly defined wall, a crisper break, and an audible, tactile reset. Running the gun is easier since shooters get more feedback throughout the trigger press. And don't worry, high-end aftermarket triggers are still available in abundance for the 2.0 pistols from companies like Apex Tactical. A small, subtle change that most folks have welcomed, the M&P 2.0 guns have eliminated the extended beaver tail. The top of the backstrap now stops flush with the rear of the slide. The extended beaver tail on the original guns was nominally a good gesture, one intended to completely eliminate the possibility of being raked by the slide for folks with extra-large hands. But in my considerable personal experience with these guns and in teaching folks that use them, that painful scenario simply never occurred unless someone made a disastrous error when gripping the gun in the first place. It's a small change, but one that helps when carrying concealed, especially in the apex position. We've got a lot more to talk about concerning the revisions and upgrades to Smith & Wesson's flagship pistol. But before we move on, do me a favor and click like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos coming out on the channel. And we come to the improvement that has split the M&P fanbase right down the middle. The grip texture molded into the frame and on the interchangeable back straps is now very aggressive, arguably too aggressive. It still consists of an irregular stone-like texture, but now each of the raised ridges terminates in a distinctly sharp point. To me, it feels like the super rough no-slip traction tape you would find on the decks of boats and ships. This texture will indeed decisively lock the gun into your hand, but even if you've got rough mitts already, you're going to have some hot spots at the end of a long-range trip. A full day at a training class with a heavy firing schedule means gloves are mandatory or your palms and fingers are going to look like ground beef. But if you don't like it, don't worry. This isn't some ruinous change. You can easily knock down the sharp points using 180 to 220 grit sandpaper with a little time and care. That's what I did on mine, and it's still a huge improvement over the original guns. Sure to please fans of steel and alloy-framed handguns, the M&P 2.0 is also available with an all-metal frame. Whether you want a basic full-size 9mm, a souped-up performance center version, or a proper tactical gun complete with a threaded barrel, you can now get everything you love about the M&P in an aluminum frame package. But there's a catch. As of this video's release, you can only get the metal-framed M&P 2.0s in 9mm. Talk about a missed opportunity. I'd love one in 10mm. Hopefully these will take off and S&W will offer the other chamberings with a metal frame too. Like it or not, miniature red dot sights are the way of the future for modern handguns. The advantages in speed of acquisition, range, and precision are simply undeniable. With these sights getting more affordable and more rugged year in and year out, before long it will be pistols that aren't equipped for mounting them from the factory that will raise eyebrows. It's no wonder then that most of the 2.0 lineup in the M&P family features optics mounting capability. Most variants do, including the metal-framed versions we just talked about, the Performance Center editions, competition versions, and most full-size compact and subcompact models. However, not all of the 2.0 guns have optics mounting capability as standard, and that's why I'm mentioning it here. Some come slick slide. Make sure you double-check before you buy or order so you don't wind up with cowboy sights only. Without question, the change that caused the most confusion is the presence, or lack thereof, of forward slide serrations on the M&P 2.0. Let's clear things up with no ambiguity. Yes, all M&P 2.0 have forward slide serrations. However, on most, the forward slide serrations, such as they are tiny quarter-height things that barely offer any real purchase on the slide. But on the metal frame guns and the optics-ready models, the slide serrations up front are full height and work better. In any case, both versions are the same scalloped or fish scale designs as the rear serrations, now a Smith & Wesson trademark. This may or may not be a deal-breaker for you, depending on how you like to run your pistol, but it is something to keep in mind if you like a good, usable gripping surface up front. One of the best changes made to the M&P 2.0 series is one that you can't see from the outside. M&P aficionados know already that the pistol features an embedded stainless steel chassis for strength and rigidity. What you might not know is that the 2.0 introduced a bulked up and significantly lengthened chassis to help reduce twisting of the frame, improve durability, and enhance performance overall. And this isn't just another line item in the Smith & Wesson brochure. Some original M&Ps had a nasty reputation for delivering abysmal accuracy. Not all of them, not by far, but enough that it earned these guns a black mark among serious shooters. How bad are we talking? I've seen early M&Ps that couldn't hold even an 8-inch group at 25 yards. Unacceptable. One factor contributing to that abysmal accuracy was addressed with the next change on our list, but the other was speculated to be that the chassis on the early guns did not provide enough rigidity and support for the pistol to function properly. Particularly, it was discovered much later on that the barrels would unlock early due to torsion and vibration stresses. If the barrel unlocks and starts to move before the bullet is exited, that has a severe negative impact on accuracy. By all appearances, this improved steel chassis has solved half of the accuracy problem. Regarding the other half of the accuracy problem in the early pistols, that was easily attributed to the rifling rate, 1 in 16 in the 9mm guns. That simply was not optimal. Later production models changed over to a much improved 1 in 10, which greatly helped, but did not totally solve the lackluster accuracy. That was likely due to issues with the chassis that we discussed a moment ago. No surprises here, Smith & Wesson intelligently carried on with the 1 in 10 rifling in the 9mm M&P 2.0s. And together with the trigger enhancements and strengthened, lengthened chassis, they are now among the most accurate and best shooting striker-fired pistols you can get today. They regularly print anywhere from 2 1/4 inch to 3-inch groups at 25 yards. Not bad at all for a service pistol. And that wraps up our deep dive on the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 pistols. Smith & Wesson made a lot of changes to these guns, some subtle, some not, but hardcore shooters are bound to appreciate them. What do you think about the 2.0 guns generally? Do the upgrades make them competitive with other striker pistols, or are you going to stick with some other brand? Let me know down in the comments, and before you go, make sure you hit like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any great handgun content here on Guns You Can't Live Without. I will see you in the next video.